today I'm doing a tutorial on how to crochet one of these cute little Philza Minecraft crows with a little hat you can take off. Very cute, fairly easy for beginners. It only you only need to know like the basic stitches, increase, decrease, single crochet, all of that. So let's get into it. So the materials you'll need for this is black, obviously, white and green for the hat, and then any shade of grey for the beak and feet. You'll also need eyes, a needle to sew everything, I can't pick it up, there you go, to sew everything shut, stuffing, scissors, obviously, and a crochet hook. I use 3.5mm with this yarn, which is flutterby chunky yarn. I don't actually know what size you're supposed to use, but oh well. I'll try and link down everything in the description, so you can buy the same brand if you want to. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is the body, which is basically just like an oval shape like that. So the first step you will want to do is a magic circle. Now with the fluffy yarn, I find doing a traditional magic circle a bit messy. So instead of that, I just do chain 2 and then work 6 single crochets into the first chain instead of doing like a proper magic circle. I found that works better. So that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. So that's how I've done it, but if you're using different yarn, feel free to do an actual magic circle. Fluffy yarn can be quite annoying to do a magic circle with. So once you have the magic circle with 6 in it, you're going to do an increase in each of the 6 stitches, which if you don't know what an increase is, literally it's just 2 lots of single crochets in the same stitch. So 1, 2 into the same stitch there, and then do that 6 times in all of the stitches in the magic circle. So that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, and then 6, and then double check, count around, make sure you have 12. Okay, now we're going to keep working rounds like this, and we're going to go up to 18 stitches, and to do that you do a single crochet and then an increase in the next stitch, and then you do that pattern 6 times. So single, then an increase, and just 6 times. Now once you've counted to make sure you have 18, we're going to do the same thing again, but in each gap you're going to have 2 single crochets and then an increase. So single crochet, and then an increase, and then repeat that 6 times again. Now you just have to do that 8 more times until you've got the start of a little oval. I'll cut because no one wants to watch me do 8 rows. Okay, so this is what you should have at this step. Make sure it's the right side out, so you might have to turn it inside out. And then we're going to add the eyes next. So these are the eyes I have. I'll try and see if I can link them in the description below. They're pretty good. Obviously you can use whatever sized eyes you want. So I put the eyes, oh sorry, there's dog hair on it. I put the eyes 7 rows down. So I'd recommend counting from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then in this row, you want to put in the first eye. So the way these eyes work, you just put it in one of the little gaps, get one of the plastic backs that come with it, and then that should attach to the inside, and then you push it down into place and it'll be like that. For the next eye, count 7 stitches along from your first eye, put the eye in, and then put the back in. And this is what you should have. So the next step, we're going to close it up together. To do that, you're going to do 2 single crochets as usual, and then a decrease. And to do that, you go through 1 and you go through the next stitch. You pull it through both of them and then you go over like so. And so you've decreased 2 stitches into 1. And we're going to do that 6 times round. Now you should be back down to 18 stitches, and you can see that it's beginning to close up. It's at this stage that I recommend to begin stuffing it, just to make it easier so you're not stuffing it when it's almost closed. So I'd recommend stuffing a bit now. So there we go. As you can see, it's not stuffed all the way. There's still some gaps. It just makes it easier. So now we're going to continue with our decreasing, and this time you're just going to do one single crochet and then a decrease, and then obviously repeat that 6 times again. Now you should be back down to 12 stitches around, and I recommend stuffing the rest of it. And now that it's firmly stuffed and you have the eyes in, it's time to completely close up. And to do that, you're just going to do 6 decreases in a row. There we go. Now you should just be left with 6 stitches and a little bean. I'd recommend seeing if you can add even more stuffing just to make it squishy, but that's what you should have. And now the next thing to do is a little slip stitch at the end just to finish it off. And then cut the thread, leave a little bit to sew the hole shut, and then pull tight, and you've got a little bean. Then all you have to do is get the needle and sew up the hole closed, and you've got your little bean. Now we've got the body done, I'm going to show you how to do the tail and the wings. So for the tail, you're going to start off with the black yarn again, obviously. Do a magic ring and do 6 stitches into the magic ring, just like you did for the body. Now, once you've got the magic circle, you're just going to do 6 single crochets all around the circle. Now we're going to increase to 9 stitches by doing a single crochet, then an increase, and do that 3 times around the circle. And now you've counted to make sure you have 9. We're just going to do a whole row of just 9 single crochets. Then once you've done that, make sure it's the right way. So for me, I had to turn it inside out. If you crochet backwards, then you won't have to turn it inside out. It depends. Make sure it's the right way out, and then finish it off by doing a slip stitch. Leave a long tail for sewing it to the body, and then pull through. And that's what you should have for the little tail. Now the wings are very similar to the tail. You just do the exact same thing, just at the end you add an extra row of 9. So I'm not going to bother filming that bit. Just do the exact same thing you did for tail, but when you get to this stage, do another row of 9 and then leave it like that. So you do that twice and you should have 2 wings that looks like that are just slightly bigger than the tail, as you can see. Now the next thing we're going to do is the beak. So get the grey colour, and just like everything else, do a magic circle with 6 stitches in it. And once you've got that, you're going to do 2 rounds of just 6 single crochets all around it. So do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then do that again. Now you've got that, we're going to increase to 9, just like we did for the tail, by doing 1, then an increase 3 times. Now you've got 9, we're going to do 1 round of just 9. And now for the final round of the beak, we're going to increase to 12 by doing 2 single crochets, and then an increase, and doing that 3 times. Now make sure you've got 12, turn it inside out, do a slip stitch, and then cut off a tail for sewing and pull through. And that is what the beak should look like. Now to make the feet, there are 2 sections. There's this section and the leg section. So we're going to do this section first. So to do that, get the grey again, and do a magic circle with 6 in, as usual. Now you've got that, we're going to do another round of just 6 single crochets. And you're going to do 5 more rounds exactly like that of just 6 single crochets. Once you've done that, you should have this sort of shape. Stuff it, then do a slip stitch, leave a tail, pull it through, and then you're going to get your needle and sew it closed. Once you've pulled through a few times to sew it closed, I then recommend going through and bringing out the thread in like the center, because that will make it easier to sew it onto the next part. So yeah, obviously you have to do 2 of them for both feet, and you should be left with 2 little things like this. Now for the legs, you're going to do a magic circle, but this time you're only going to do 5 stitches into it. So once you've got your 5, you're going to do 3 rounds of just 5 single crochets all around. So once you've done the 3 rounds, you should be left with something like this. So obviously you do a slip stitch, turn it inside out, fill it with a bit of stuffing, but don't sew this end closed because this end is the end that's going to be sewed onto the body. And then obviously do a second one, and there's your 2 little legs. So the next step is to sew everything together on the body. There's fluff everywhere. So I don't have the exact specification of where everything's supposed to go, but if you just look at this one, tail obviously goes on the back, 2 wings on the sides, legs, feet, beak in the middle. I'm not going to explain how to sew everything on because it's pretty self-explanatory. But obviously when you're sewing the beak on, add a bit of stuffing before you sew it on. The wings and tail don't need any stuffing in, it's better if they're flat. And then obviously this bit sews onto the body and this bit sews onto the end like that. Once you've sewed it all together, it should look like this guy. Legs, wings, beak, tail, everything like that. Now if you just want the crow, obviously you can stop watching here, but the next step is to make his little hat. So step 1 is to do a magic circle with 6 stitches using the white. Then you're going to do an increase in each stitch, but you're going to include the green. So you'll do 1, but don't pull through yet, and then you add the green like so. So that's 1 stitch with the yellow, and then in the same stitch, because it's an increase, you do green, but finish it with the yellow, and that's 1 increase. Now you do the same all around the circle, so that's 2 increases, and then do 4 more, until you have this, thing that looks like a lollipop, I guess. Now, we're going to increase to 18 by doing 1, then an increase, but the increase will have 1 white, 1 green. So increase like that. So that's again, you have a single crochet, like normal, and then an increase with a white and a green. And do that 6 times all around the circle, like so. And then we're going to increase again to 24 by doing 2 and then an increase where the increase is both greens. So 1, 2. So I'll show you that again. That's 2 single crochets in each of the whites, and then 2 greens in each green one. 1, 2, and then do that all around the circle. So you should be left with this lollipop looking thing. And if you want to double check, you should have 24 stitches, so that's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 as you're changing colour. Now to make the bit of the hat that goes straight down, you're going to do a row of 24, obviously changing colour where necessary, so 2 and then change colour, then 2. But you're only going to do it into this back stitch here. So usually you'd go into these front 2, but you're only going to do it in the back one so that it angles downwards, if that makes sense. So you do that, and then obviously change colour when you get to the green. Don't increase or decrease anything, just keep going all the way around, but only do it into this back one, like so. And then do that for 24 stitches all around the circle. So now, as you can see, you've got a flat top with a bit that goes straight down. Now you're going to do 2 more rows of just 24, changing colour regularly, but this time go through both of them as you normally would, and just do 2 more full rounds. So this is what the hat should look like so far, flat at the top with 3 rows downwards. Now for the next row, we're going to increase to 30, but we're also going to do it in, instead of the back one this time, only the front one. So to do the increase, you're going to work in just the front bits. You're going to do 3 regular stitches as you would, changing colour normally. So 1, 2, 3, and on the last green, you're going to do an increase. So that's 2 greens. And then obviously you have to change colour back for the last bit. Like so. And then you do that 6 times all around, making sure to only work in the front bit. So as you can see, working in the first stitch will make the rim jut out a bit like that to make the hat sit like this. Now we're going to increase again to 36 for this bit, but instead of doing it at the end, we're going to do it at the start. So the increase will be here by the white. So working into both as normal, don't work just in the front. You're going to do an increase first, and then 4 regular stitches. So 1, and then all the greens just how you would normally. 1, 2, 3, and then do that 6 times. So this is the hat so far, and we're going to do 1 more increase to the rim, which should increase to 42 stitches at the end. So to do that, we're just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, whoops, I didn't mean to pull through both there, 4 and 5 regular stitches, and then increase in the last green. And then do that 6 times around the rim. And then once you get to the end of that row, just do a slip stitch and pull through. And then you can cut the other colour and weave them in with a needle at the end. And there is your little hat. This is what your hat should look like on the inside, and this is what it should look like on the outside, with the rim, a flat top, and a flat middle. And then you can just plop it on his head. And there is your little guy. So there you go, there's the crow. Hope you enjoyed the video, hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try my best to answer them. Subscribe and turn the bell on, because I should be posting more crochet tutorials like this No So Dinosaur. So if you want more tutorials, do that. All of my socials are linked below, so if you do make it, please tag me. I'd love to see that people enjoy the tutorial and enjoy the crow. Also, if you can't be bothered to make this yourself, I do sell them on my Etsy shop, link in bio, but I only ship to the UK, so sorry for all those all those Americans that have messaged me being like, I want to buy but I can't. So yeah, hope you enjoyed.